How's it going, listeners? It's Monday in South Carolina. Welcome to the Touchdowns Podcast. An instant reaction to, well, not really an instant reaction. I was traveling home from Baton Rouge yesterday. A pretty terrible day of travel. Outside of feeling down from the result of the game, some logistical things that made it even worse of a travel day for me. I wasn't able to fit in the time to get this podcast episode recorded. So, going on a Monday, this isn't going to be normal. Typically, we'll still be releasing episodes on Sundays after the games, talking about the previous games. So, a little bit of an oddity this week just because I was coming home from Baton Rouge. Gamecocks lose last Saturday night, 20-10 to LSU. Quickly, just some recap on some of the numbers from the game. LSU outgained Carolina 420 to 317. The Carolina defense forced 2 picks and a fumble. The fumble on the goal line was a big play in the game. We actually won the time of possession this game, which I don't think we had done all year. And just the big, obviously, bold thing to highlight is the penalties, 10 of which were on offense and, 14 total. So that seems to be an ongoing issue with the team this year. I would like to start just by, I'll recap my experience in Baton Rouge and then Thomas maybe give your thoughts on the game. But I think from a fan perspective going into Baton Rouge, everyone pegs night at Death Valley as one of the premier experiences in college football. To be honest, and I know there's a lot of factors that play into an environment, and we're all humans, so we get hyped up for different games and different opponents. I don't think this matchup was. First of all, I think the LSU fan base, just the vibe I got this past weekend was they're not really happy with what LSU's doing, despite being ranked I think they're ranked 11 this week, and they've only lost one game. But the fan base in general, the vibe, and even just talking to people in the stadium and talking to people around the tailgate, they're not real excited about this team, and that's probably because the offense hasn't been great, and they were projected to have a Heisman winning quarterback, and they had all these great transfers and weapons that they were going to be able to utilize, and they've really underperformed as far as that expectation goes. So I think the fans were – it was interesting. The pregame is nothing like – I think South Carolina has a far superior pregame experience. We got into the stadium 20 minutes before kickoff just to see what it was all about, and it's kind of a lot of waiting around, and then all of a sudden we looked up and the team was running on the field. There's not a lot of music. They don't really have a traditional entrance like we do with 2001, and so the team just kind of came on the field. The boos were pretty damn loud when Carolina ran on the field, and I think the stadium at certain points in the game, it was loud, but the consistency of the noise, and I didn't think it was honestly too rowdy of an environment. With that being said, like I said, the peaks were there, and there was it does get loud at certain points in the game. But overall, I think I'd be interested to hear what some of the other Carolina fans thought. But overall, based on an expectation of being the craziest environment you can walk into, it wasn't that for sure. And again, there's probably a lot of factors that go into that. It was also a pretty boring game, you could say. There wasn't a lot of fireworks in the game. So with that being said, that was kind of my fun tailgating. I think the experience overall was well worth the trip, and I'm glad I did it. Wish Carolina would have won, and wish the matchup was a little bit more hyped, because we thought potentially going into this game it could be two 5-0 teams with two Heisman frontrunner candidates and two teams with SEC championship and playoff aspirations, and that wasn't the case, as both offenses and quarterbacks have struggled earlier in the year. So wasn't quite the environment I thought it would be, but overall great experience. We had a lot of fun in the section. We were the only Carolina people within our entire section. I didn't see Garnet and Black anywhere around us, so we had a lot of fun with the LSU folks in our section, and hopefully they think well of the Carolina fan base because of me and my buddy Roy, who sat there. And I got, there's the typical assholes that walk around SEC stadiums and tailgates at LSU, but for the most part, everyone was super nice and welcoming, and it was a good experience. But enough of my soapbox of the experience. What did you think about the game, Thomas? Give us your thoughts. Give us your takeaways from what we saw Saturday night.
Well, I actually want to zoom out a bit. I don't think that anything that happened I don't think any of the reasons that we lost this game were new reasons for why we've been losing all season. The penalties, the offensive line play, our offense's inability to score, none of that is new. So we lost this game for the same reason that we have not played well for this entire season. So I want to take a step back and kind of zoom out and look at the program as a whole. I know that, you were texting me during the game and after the game, kind of insinuating what I was going to say, or, I was going to spin this in a positive light. I'm a sunshine pumper. I'm an eternal optimist. And I am all of those things. But that does not mean that I don't want to win more than anything else. That doesn't mean that I don't have standards for our program. I worked for the Muschamp staff, and I am still, friends with everybody that I worked in the office with. Some of those guys are Carolina alums. Some of those guys went to undergrad other places. Most of the people that worked for Muschamp do not like Beamer for one reason or another. Some of them just didn't feel like Beamer was very respectful to the Muschamp staff when he came in. Some of the comments that he made to the media, I kind of felt that I didn't feel like he took any unnecessary shots at the Muschamp staff. I thought he was saying the things that you need to say to try and re-energize a fan base that was upset about the state of the program. But each and every week, I am talking trash with them just as much as I talk trash with, my Clemson buddies. So I'm constantly defending Beamer and the way that Beamer does things. Some of their critiques of him are his demeanor on the sidelines. Example, the bowl game against Illinois, the way that he and Justin King kind of run social media is a little bit different than the way that Muschamp used to do things. And this isn't the only place that I've heard it. I've heard other people compare Beamer to Dabo. I don't think that they're necessarily the same. I do see similarities in how they choose to run their programs. But at the end of the day, I don't care what our coach's strategy is. I don't care about anything other than winning. All of the stuff that we do, whether it's under Muschamp or under Beamer, that does not matter to me. And the reason that Muschamp got fired was because he was 28 and 29. He got fired when he was 2-5 in his 5th season, and his overall record was 28 and 29. Beamer is currently 32 and 25. If he gets below 500, I will stop defending him. And like, as far as how do we fix what's wrong, we did fire Lonnie Teasley. And I don't know if that was Beamer's decision. There have been rumors that the AD kind of forced his hand. And I don't really care how it happened. That has now happened. The thing that frustrates me about our fan base is that I think that people probably still want our offense to look bad against Oklahoma this coming Saturday, just because they want to be right about Shula being the wrong fit. They would rather be right about their opinion than for the team to win and have success. And they very well might be right about Shula. They very well might be right about Beamer. But in my opinion, we've already fired Teasley and we've moved Sean Elliott over, and I hope that does improve our play. I'm desperate for that to improve our play on offense. But I think that we have an opportunity to beat Oklahoma. As bad as our offense has looked all season, their offense looks just as bad this past week against Texas. It's at home. Mateer's not 100%. That is a game that I desperately want us to win. And so I want Shula to have his best game. I want him to call a good game, and I want us to get better. But I think a lot of people would rather just see this season tail dive just so they can say, I told you so. But I do think that Shula probably will be let go at the end of the season unless we have a miraculous turnaround. And then I'm sure that there'll be fans that are upset about that if he does coach himself into another year. But all I care about is us winning the games. I don't care who the coaches are. I defend our coaches while they're our coaches, and I do hope for the best. And I am always optimistic that we can perform better. And I think that there's a lot more moving pieces each and every week than people. It's not an easy thing to accomplish. Auburn can't get the head coaching hire right. Tennessee floundered for 20 years after Philip Fulmer left before they have just now found Heupel. Looking at this year's coaching carousel, the Penn State job is already open. If they hire someone who's already a head coach, I'm assuming it's going to be from a prestigious job where that job coming open is going to be a factor. Virginia Tech is open. Oregon State is open. Oklahoma State is open. I believe Auburn will come open. I believe Florida will come open. Arkansas is open. So, I don't think that it is fair for people to say, well, look at what Indiana has gotten in year 1 and year 2 out of Cignetti. Yeah, they caught lightning in a bottle. That was a great hire. My point is, I don't think there are that many Cignettis out there. And it is incredibly frustrating that we seem to have wasted what LaNorris is and could have been. He is a homegrown talent, and I don't know that we will ever sign a quarterback that has his physical traits again in either of our lifetimes. And I think the main reason we were able to get him at the current state of our program is simply because he was born in Florence. If he was born anywhere else, he is playing for someone else, and he's probably having a much better career, unfortunately. But I'm not going to give up, and so We need to win as many games as we can this season. We need to make a bowl. We need to beat Clemson. We need to hold this class together. The people that are saying they don't care if we lose Darius Gray, that's how satisfied they are with us firing Lonnie Teasley. That is such a backwards mindset. I don't know how bad of a job Lonnie Teasley was doing. He is obviously the person that has fallen on the sword now. Again, I don't know if it was Beamer's decision or the AD's decision, but it is clear that someone had to take the bullet, and it was Teasley. I still think that the O-line had shown signs of progress even going into this game, and then Shed Surratt gets hurt on Matthew Fuller's touchdown, which forces us to put Boaz Stanley back in the game, who, once again, the 14 penalties, I'm sure that 6 of them were on him, and he didn't block anybody. Josiah Thompson got bull rushed back into Lenoris one time. That's not coaching. That's just their guy was better than our guy on that play. So we desperately need Darius Gray because he's not a guy that needs to be developed. He is a plug and play freak, and he is exactly what we need to improve our offensive line. So I really hope we don't lose him. I hope we don't lose anyone in the class, because that is the only way to the other side of what we're suffering through this season is having better players. And I've kind of gone off on a tangent and been rambling for probably 10 minutes at this point, but I just had to get that off my chest.
Well, the thing is, because I had multiple people texting me. To be honest, I didn't have the energy to really debate them yesterday or engage in that while I was traveling. But a bunch of people were texting me yesterday, we need to fire Beamer. I think as those conversations were happening, the news comes out that Teasley gets canned. And ultimately, Beamer had to do something, because it's been an ongoing problem, and it's, to your point, yeah, okay, our guys got bull rushed, and we had an injury. And I think what's unfortunate is we popped off a decent run. We had a decent run game on Saturday night. I mean, Rasul was getting, I think, 5.5 yards a carry. We get the big explosive play with Matthew Fuller. Our rushing numbers didn't look great because Lenoris had 22 carries for 19 yards, I think. So that really hurt our average, but I think there was 5 sacks for 55 yards. So the running game, actually, which is what we've kind of been bitching and moaning about leading into the LSU game.
I know that no one wants to hear this.
Was good enough to win.
At the end of the day, we're 3-3. But I still believe if Lenoris doesn't get hurt against Vanderbilt, we win that game. And I really do believe if Shed Surratt doesn't get hurt against LSU, we win that game. We were doing exactly what we needed to do in terms of staying ahead of the chains, running the ball. We had an effective running game for the first time this season, and we could not pass block them. And it only got worse when Shed got hurt, because we were running the ball less effectively then, and so we were behind the chains, and we still couldn't pass block them. So, but we're not 5-1. We're 3-3. I don't think we can make the playoff even if we went out. I think Notre Dame would get in over us. I think we wouldn't get in. So everything that we had hoped for in the preseason effectively ended this past Saturday. So now we have to recalibrate our expectations. I would certainly like to win out and be 9-3, although that would almost be more painful than going 7-5 or 8-4. Going 9-3 again and missing the playoff again with the 3 games that we have lost would just drive me insane. But yeah, I want to win every week. I would say that of the next 4, I think this game against Oklahoma is the easiest or the one that we have the best chance of winning. But yeah, I would love to beat everybody left on our schedule, obviously. Clemson is the most important. They're always the most important to me. And, they've looked better the past 2 weeks against these bottom tier programs. But I don't think they're good, and I expect us to still beat them at the end of the season.
Yeah. I mean, but let's talk about just being situationally good. And we're not even so I get it. The offensive line is the root of all existing problems because people are now starting to get on Lenoris, saying he's missing open receivers. I think a couple of the intentional grounding calls, he had open guys and he didn't let it rip. And I think that stems from a lack of trust in the pass protection. I saw a statistic. LSU was able to get pressure on Lenoris 72% of the times
Without blitzing.
Without blitzing.
Correct.
That's a damning stat. But
Lenoris is struggling, and yes, when you are sitting in your seat looking at the replay of the play, there are times where you are able to find an open receiver that he missed, but that is a lot different than having to be him and make that play when he's getting pressured and running around. You know what I'm saying? It's like he probably was seeing ghosts a lot on Saturday, and that affected his ability to find open guys. That's another reason why, I know that we have to be critical of Shula because at the end of the day, it's about scoring points in production. But
I'm talking about even situationally, we get the ball at the 37-yard line, the plus 37. We have to go 37 yards to get a touchdown.
Yep.
In the fourth quarter, we're down 7. Our defense sets us up perfectly.
Right.
Defense and special teams sets us up perfectly. And we can't even get a first down in a situational must-have. Forget, like you said, forget the overall game. The game came to a boiling point, and
I would like to speak on that series specifically because, like you said, we got the ball. Our defense made a great stop. Vicari made a great return. We had the ball at LSU's 37. On 1st and 10, we took a shot to Jacobs, who is our best receiver right now. I don't hate that decision. I had been begging for us to attack them vertically the entire game. And what better time? Everyone says, let's take a deep shot after a turnover. A 3-and-out and a good punt return in that type of field position is effectively a turnover. So we took a shot. And, their corner is a great corner, and we lost a 50-50 ball. So now it's 2nd and 10. I believe we ran it for 1 yard, which I cannot remember the exact play. So I don't know if we didn't block well or they just made a great play. But it's 3rd and 9. This is where I get frustrated. Based off of the way that the game had gone, I knew that we were in 4-down territory. I knew that we were not going to punt or kick a field goal. So on 3rd and 9, we run it again. And people start freaking out. Why are you running? I'm like, why are we running it on 39, Shula? I'm like, hey, idiots, we're going for it on fourth. That was predetermined. Maybe we pop one for 9 and get the first down, but if not, we have a fourth and medium instead of a 4th and 9. It's pretty simple football. Like, I think a lot of people are just casuals and they don't that is situational football. If you're going for it on fourth, why not try and get some yards on third down, especially when you're struggling to pass block? Then comes the 4th and 4 play. And I don't know what we had on the left side of the field, but we essentially had Jordan Dingle on the short side of the field. He ran to the sticks and turned around, and it wasn't there. He was covered, and LaNorris tried to throw it to him anyways. I don't know if there was anything else open, but I would have loved to have seen LaNorris try and run that and get it. And at the end of the day, it was the right decision. I don't have a problem with us taking a shot on first down. I don't have a problem with us running it on third down, trying to make the fourth down an easier conversion, which we did do. But then we just didn't convert. And, at the end of the day, we didn't make the plays to win the game. We had every opportunity to win, and we could not find the plays. I'm sick of people, and I'm not attacking Nick, but I'm sick of people asking. Like, I was driving to work today, and someone called in to 107.5 The Game and asked why we can't use Nick Harbor like LSU uses Trey'Dez Green, because they're both tall. Nick can't catch. He one of the times that we stalled on their side of the 50 was because he just dropped the ball. And he almost caught it. He put great effort in, but it's like he was open. And LaNorris delivered the ball to the right guy, and he dropped it. So we can't use Nick like LSU uses Trey'Dez Green, because Nick is not as good as Trey'Dez Green. Even though they're big and fast, Trey'Dez Green's an excellent receiver, and Nick is not. He can't catch. He's not a natural catcher. And I'm not saying that he can never be. I would like to see him come back and stay on the jug machine and maybe, continue to develop and have a good year for us before he goes pro and probably figures it out in the league. Just like LaNorris is going to have an excellent pro career because he has uncoachable traits and excellent everything. And we can't give him 2 seconds to go through his progression. But, it just has to be better. But I do not think that blowing it up and starting from scratch is the answer, especially not this year. Again, the programs that are going to be available, we're not going to get our first choice. We probably wouldn't get our 4th choice. And that's just the way it is. When it comes to money, program prestige, whatever, we're not a top 5 job that will be available this year if our job becomes available this year. And there just aren't that many program-changing coaches on the market, in my opinion, as evidenced by all these other schools going through just a Rolodex and continuing to not hit. So, yeah, let's beat Oklahoma. Let's hold the class together, and let's hope that when Landon Duckworth gets here, we have a fucking better team around him. God damn.
Well, that's the thing it's one of those things that and I get it. Like I said, Beamer did what he had to do, or as you put it, someone had to take the bullet, and it happened to be Lonnie Teasley. But the disconnect was that we were recruiting at a high level on paper, and the line looked good on paper.
Let me just say this. Josiah Thompson was a 5-star, and we paid him, $1 million plus. We have not gotten that out of him. So that's another factor. Like, South Carolina doesn't get that many 5 stars, so we may not be accustomed to a 5-star being a bust, but that happens too. You know what I mean? Like, there are plenty of top 100, top 10, top 50 recruits that go to Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State and Southern Cal and you name it, and they don't materialize. That does happen. And those programs just go get another guy. And, they pay those guys to come there. And then that's just money they lost. That's what I'm trying to communicate to everybody is I don't think that you can expect us to sit at this table and compete with these programs without paying the price of admission. I mean, Auburn is paying 4 coaches at the same time right now, and they're probably spending more on NIL than we do, and they have the same record as us. You know what I mean? It's just like.
But that's what I think. So that's what I think people are getting in a tiff about is if you keep, like, if the excuse is we don't have the resources to compete, get more out of what we have. That's why you're the coach. That's why you're the coach, Shane Beamer. And you have to work with what you got because we are who we are. We are who we are. We're not going to ever be Ohio State when it comes to resources. We're never going to be Oregon when it comes to resources. We're never going to be Georgia or Alabama. So you have to elevate what's existing within your program. That is the job of the head coach. So that's all we're asking of him. And trust me, I want to keep Beamer. Like I said, I didn't have the energy to defend him yesterday because I was pissed off about the game and I was pissed off about my travel. And I didn't have the energy to defend him. But I'm on the record saying he needs to be kept. I think he should be kept. I think firing Lonnie Teasley is an unfortunate result for Lonnie Teasley, but the results speak for themselves, and you have to make a change. You can't keep doing the same shit and just being like, we put some good stuff on film, we're almost there. It's like it gets to a point where it's been unacceptable for years, and then now this last performance was the last straw. But I think my point, and I think what a lot of the fans feel, is that you are put in place and in charge of a program to elevate the program and work with it. You just have to. That's the thing. It's not an even playing field. So that's why you go and hire a Shane Beamer, a guy that is committed to the university, a guy who's not, I think everyone felt like Muschamp was kind of run out of Gainesville and he wasn't really a top coaching choice. And we couldn't get a better coach. And so we kind of settled for Muschamp. And then Muschamp wasn't really all about the program.
Right. But let me remind people again, the coach that everyone wanted the year that we hired Muschamp was Tom Herman. And he fucking couldn't do shit at Texas. And the coach that everybody wanted the year that we hired Shane Beamer was Billy Napier. And he's about to get run out of Gainesville too. What I'm saying is there aren't that many good coaches. There are not. There aren't that many good coaches. And I don't know who these people expect us to go get, and they think it's going to be different. At some point, you have to commit to somebody and give them time to figure it out. Because like you said, we're not a program that is going to compete with Ohio State from a resource standpoint. So year in, year out, we're not going to be Ohio State. Auburn has won a national championship and played in a national championship since 2000. They've won one and they've played in another without ever having 2 consecutive seasons where they won 10 games. They go up and down too. So, to your point about maximizing your resources and what you have, Josiah Thompson was a 5-star offensive lineman in our backyard. Everyone wanted him. We got him. And he hasn't been that yet. That doesn't mean that he can never be a good player. But this year, he's not. And we don't have anybody else. You can't pull a left tackle out of your ass. They're not in the portal. We thought we got a guy that could lock down that position, and he's not that guy. And that's not an evaluation miss because he was what you look for. I don't know why it hasn't materialized. So, maybe Teasley is okay. Teasley didn't develop him. We just fired him. I hope Sean does a better job with him for the rest of the season. And whether we are able to get Pittman like you want, or we bring in someone else from the outside at the end of the season, again, I think that Shula is probably going to get fired at the end of the year as well. So, again, I hope that the next guys are better. But at a certain point, you need some stability. And I think that Beamer is still the guy that we need to commit to and try and let him figure it out. Get some, maybe we should abandon the pro style offense. I don't know. And maybe he will. But it is a fluid thing. And I'm beside myself that, this year isn't the year that we thought we were going to have. But it's not. And so we'll see what happens next year. God damn. Fuck. When is it going to be our turn? I'm 33. We have been following this team since we were 5 years old. And if anyone deserves to win anything, it is us. I'm so sick of correcting people that say we have no championships by saying we won the ACC in 1969. I fucking can't take it anymore. And in terms of, I don't know, dude, we just have to win. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about our fucking academics. I don't post the honor roll anymore. I don't care if our players can read. Do they know the playbook and can we win the game? I don't care if we run a fullback dive every time. I don't care if our offense is good. I don't care if our defense is good. It would be at least more fun to watch a good offense. We had that in 2014, and we went 7-6. We were awesome on offense, and we couldn't stop anybody. We were kicking onside kicks in the second quarter and going for it on fourth down every time because Spurrier knew we couldn't stop anybody. And we it was no better. Scoring 50 points and losing the game still sucks. I don't care what we look like. I just want to win more games.
And that is the sentiment, but all of these things factor in, and I know it doesn't actually matter.
I'm just saying, whenever I'm being positive, I think that people think I don't care. All I care about is winning. I do.
Yeah.
But what I do believe is that our best chance to continue to progress as a program for now is to keep Beamer. If I think,
I agree with that.
I'm going to be monitoring him a lot closer now. He's at 32-25.
Yeah.
The closer he gets to 500, the more frustrated I will become. But all I care about is winning. And when he proves that he cannot do it, I'll wish him on his way, and I will get behind the next coach that we hire. Just like I did with Muschamp. I defended him until he was not our coach anymore, and now I'm a Beamer guy. And I'll be a Beamer guy until he's no longer the head coach of South Carolina.
Yeah. You gotta – I'm with you. And these are the conversations that the fan base is having. Because I mean, just to your point, just the release you just had, and that's just, I think that's why people want Beamer's head, because we had expectations, and we've all it's not even okay, it is the halfway point of the season, and everything we expected to happen this year cannot happen pretty much. That's the hard part. I mean, I would have rather had lose our third game in November at least, or what, like we just fell flat, and that ultimately reflects on the coach, the head coach. It has to. Like, what are we talking about if we're not assigning? And that's what I would, if I had the energy to argue yesterday, I would have made the point, like, I absolutely am not happy with the product we're putting on the field. Beamer deserves a shit ton of criticism for the way we played this year. But to your point too, to me, it's not to the point where we need to fire him. I still think we need to play through this season.
And Penn State lost 4 top 100 players in an hour after firing James Franklin. If we fired Beamer, our class would fall apart. Every good player that we have would probably hit the portal, and we would be staring down the barrel of the next 3 years' schedules. And I know that if we made a good hire, that coach would bring players with him, and he would have the portal to utilize for himself as well. And it's easier to rebuild in the portal era. But I mean, dude, like, if we blow it up right now, I just don't know how we rebuild the core of a team that is going to make us competitive. And I just can't sit around for 4 more years trying to become bowl eligible. Like, I feel like we have at least a little bit of a floor right now. And we're definitely, I thought we were turning the corner this year, and we did not. But we're not.
I mean, we could potentially be 4-8 this season.
Yeah, or we couldn't beat, or we could beat Oklahoma, and we could be.
I'm just saying that the only.
What I'm saying is, if we fire Beamer, we could very quickly become Kentucky, or 2-10 next year.
Yeah. No.
And we're starting to get the upper hand on Clemson. I'd like to start beating them consistently again. Dabo's on shaky ground. Like, why would we give them reprieve by fucking blowing it up? And again, Penn State is open. Virginia Tech is open. Oregon State is open. Auburn might be open. Arkansas is open. Florida is open. I don't know what people think a good hire would be, but it is going to be the most competitive coaching carousel that we've probably seen in the last 15 years. So I just don't know what people think or who they want or what would happen.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Look at what UNC did. They blew it up, and
exactly.
They got Belichick.
Yeah, thank you for another perfect example of how much worse it could get. I mean, they are begging for Mac Brown back right now. They're embarrassing. I mean, you said you texted me this team is unwatchable on Saturday night, and I know that you were frustrated and drunk, and it was a frustrating game to watch. But we lost 20-10 to an LSU team in LSU that's ranked 11. I don't think they're the 11th best team in the country, but I have seen a lot more embarrassing losses by the Gamecocks in my lifetime than a 10-point loss on the road to a ranked team. North Carolina lost by 40 points to UCF and then 50 to Clemson. I mean, They suck. There is nothing redeemable about them. We at least have good players, and we make plays sometimes. I mean, shit.
Hey, look, I want us to go 9-3. It's still on the table. My Clemson buddies were trying to troll me because I said 10-2 was on the table last week, and I said 9-3 is still on the table. So you're not gonna find again. I get way more pessimistic, and I always, probably overreact or say shit to directly kind of cut through your, send a knife in your side. But ultimately, it just comes from a place of, like you said, when's it going to be our turn? Like we had the 3 games we lost were like so winnable. That's what I think is frustrating too, is not only have we sucked, but we've had a chance to win. I mean, Vanderbilt, technically the game was out of hand in the second half, but like you said, our quarterback got hurt. But Missouri, we have a chance to win that game in the second half. LSU, we are down 7 with the ball at the 37-yard line, 1st and 10, and we don't get it done. And like the frustrating thing is, it feels like too that in the Missouri game and the LSU game especially, we beat ourselves. Like we highlighted some of the plays that Ahmad Hardy made at Missouri where it's a perfect, the guy Peyton Williams fills the gap, and he's there to make the tackle for a loss of 1, and it's on 3rd and 6, and instead it's a 12-yard touchdown run. Like and then the pre-snap bullshit in both games. Like hopefully if one thing Sean Elliott can get right, if the offensive line has no penalties against Oklahoma, that would be a win. That would be a win for the offensive line.
And again, but like at the same time, it's like, what if you were a coach and you wanted Boaz Stanley to not false start? What more can you say to this man? He's not a freshman. This guy is I think he's a 4th-year player, 5th-year player. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what we saw on film that led us to believe that his game would translate to the SEC, but we missed on him. And, I'm begging us now, whether Shed is healthy or not, to just try anybody else.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him play for us anymore. And that's probably one of the meaner things I will say about our players. I don't like to attack our players because I know that he is not trying to play bad. I know that he wants to play well, and he's doing a better job than I could ever do. But I have seen what I have seen, and he is not that guy. He just does not have it in him. The moment is too big for him. And I don't know what Teasley or Sean Elliott could say that probably hasn't been said to him 1,000 times about not false. I mean, he's the fucking center. Like, you have the ball in your hand. Like, I mean, fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's frustrating. We went on a tangent there, but it is the truth. Just, I think the pulse of, it's just, again, I always remind people, we're fans. We're fans before anything, and we care. So it's just disappointing, and I think probably
tell Grandma I'm sorry for cussing Ross. Put the parental advisory tag on this one.
We got you worked up last episode on the group of 5, and that got you about 5 F-bombs in 10 seconds. So
I feel the same way.
He's getting we're starting to. Hey, it's only it could potentially get even worse.
If we
But
lose, if we lose to Oklahoma, you're going to see a very, very upset Thomas on episode 14.
Well, let's go.
I'm expecting us to beat them.
Let's go beat the Sooners on Saturday. We'll talk about that one on Wednesday. That is that's a wrap of our LSU instant reaction. Really turned into
real quick before we go. One of my Clemson buddies just sent me a tweet from Cole Kublik. Lenore Sellers versus LSU finished with 19 rushing yards on 22 attempts, but his total distance traveled during the game was 894 yards.
Running for his life.
Just kind of speaks to. I mean, yeah, of course he's going to. He's going to miss a couple of open guys when he is fucking constantly running around every play to survive. Like,
yeah, I think people were bitching on Saturday night and we're just throwing blame at everyone. But Gamecocks lose 20-10 in Baton Rouge. Next game is Oklahoma. I watched a little bit of the early games before we went down to the stadium on Saturday. I didn't get to really see much from around the country. It looks like there was some controversy in the UGA Auburn game. Penn State fires James Franklin after losing to Northwestern. FSU loses to Pitt, so it's looking like that's a bad loss for Bama. So hopefully that factors in. It probably won't for Bama.
I'll say this: I will take a great deal of satisfaction out of playing spoiler now. So, in addition to beating Clemson and getting bowl eligible, if we're able to knock a couple of these teams that we play in the next 4 weeks out of the playoff because we beat them, that's something that I can hold on to for this year.
Denzel Washington, we're leaving here with something.
I'm leaving here with something.
We're leaving the 2012 season with something. Oklahoma, like we talked about, didn't look great against Texas. Hopefully, we continue.
No, yeah, I mean, as frustrating as this past Saturday was, I expect literally an identical game against Oklahoma. Neither of us are going to be able to score. It's going to. I'm hoping the fact that we're at home gives us the edge, and like I said, I hope that Sean Elliott is able to correct enough that our offense can improve a little bit. But Mateer did not look good. I don't think he's 100%. Oklahoma could not do anything on Texas, the week after Florida just gashed them. So we should be able to stop them.
Yeah.
Now, will we be able to score on a Brent Venables defense? That is another question.
We'll see. We'll talk about it on Wednesday. And then last big note from around the country, Indiana beats Oregon. We mentioned Cignetti in this episode on our rant. He's got Indiana's program looking super viable after being in the playoff last year. And now I think they are number 3 or number 2 in the AP poll. So it looks like they are right there with Ohio State for the Big Ten championship and probably going to make the playoff. I don't think they play Ohio State in the regular season this year. And so I think Oregon was their toughest out. So good for Indiana. But to your point, don't think that's lightning in a bottle. It can't just happen everywhere.
Like, I'm sure good for those fans. I think that probably every single coaching job that's available, he's going to be the first.
Yeah, I mean, they're already linking him to Penn State, which it's. Well, who knows if he's
the other name that just doesn't make sense to me, other than the fact that he played there for Penn State, is Matt Rhule. Like, what a lateral move, in my opinion, if you're Penn State.
Oh, you just think he's the same kind of guy as Franklin?
Well, it's like what has he done at Nebraska that would lead you to believe that he's going to be able to do anything different than what James Franklin did?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. And like for him, I get it. It's his alma mater, so
I
that's
get
probably.
why
I
he
mean,
was. I get
same
why
shit.
he would
But
leave
it's same
Nebraska. I
shit
get
with
why he would
Shane
leave
Beamer.
Nebraska. I don't get why Penn State would want him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Nebraska's got they got big time resources. They got good tradition.
I would say that the reason that Penn State is an upgrade over Nebraska is just the recruiting footprint. I think that
Yeah,
Pennsylvania is a little bit better of an area to be in than Nebraska in terms of getting high
yeah.
school players.
I mean, those you just got to go down to Texas though for Nebraska. But I get it. That's a conversation for another day. The DB Blitz, and we might have a new sponsor for the DB Blitz coming up on Wednesday's episode. I'll get into that on Wednesday, but I went 1-3-1 this past week. It was pretty lackluster after I was heating up, so that was disappointing. Georgia was actually looking like a dud, and they came back and got me my only cover. Oklahoma played like ass. Bama with the push, which was unfortunate because they were winning by 10 late in the fourth, and Missouri got a touchdown. Ole Miss just didn't look good against Washington State. Hopefully, we can clip them. I
Yeah.
would really like to beat Ole Miss this year.
Again.
And then the Cox +9. LSU gets the late field goal to go up by 10, which kind of sucked. But bad week for me. I'm 15, 18, and 2, so trying to get in the lab and get over 500 this week, and then really crush it to end the season.
I went 3
How
and
about you?
2. We
You had Georgia, Oklahoma, South Carolina.
we
So you
shared
had
Georgia.
Clemson and Houston both won.
Clemson was a no sweat. Houston was a no sweat. I think the fade bad teams model is something that I'm going to really start to lean on, just because it doesn't matter how big the spread is. When a team is truly bad, it just happens. I mean,
Yeah.
I will be fading North Carolina, Oklahoma State, for the rest. Maybe Penn State. Yeah, I mean,
Well, Penn State isn't going to be respected in Vegas anymore because Aller got hurt.
right.
They fired their coach, so they're probably going to.
And then as
be great for them.
disgusting of a transaction as it is, I'll continue to ride Clemson against these little cupcakes that they have, because that is Dabo's formula is just kicking the little kid when he's down to just erase. I mean, he loves
that.
Running it up on an inferior opponent.
Hey, it's worked out so far, but
yeah,
you got me. You still got me. I haven't held the lead at a single point in the DB Blitz this year, but that's going to be a wrap for today's episode. We will be back on Wednesday. Hit us up with some questions. Everyone, what's your opinion on Shane Beamer? What's your opinion on the coaches? Where do you want the program to go? All these types of things. We'd love to hear from y'all, and we can talk about it more in future episodes. So this is sorry for the sniffles. I also got sick in Baton Rouge, so I've been nasally probably this episode and sniffling. But with that being said, like, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever y'all are listening or watching. We appreciate everyone listening and watching. And as always, go Cox.
Go Cox.